Okay, very, very controversial question from one of our listeners. How do you deal with LGBTQ issues and tolerance in the workplace? Now, I'm not going to talk about the rightness or wrongness of LGBT. There's a difference between transgenderism versus someone who is a man who identifies as a woman. That's different versus a man who says, I am a man, I just prefer to be with other men. So those are two different issues, and transgenderism is a whole different issue. And so I'm not really going to talk about that. And besides, there's so many sources you can go online. You can just Google apologetics resources, and apologetics websites for that. But how do you deal with this in the workplace? And so I'm going to talk about this at a corporate level and then at a personal level. So at the corporate level, the first suggestion I would say is this. Study the law when it comes to this. Okay, so look at the legal definition of discrimination, because the word discrimination, there's a legal definition and then there's what people feel it should mean. All right, just because someone feels that something is discrimination doesn't mean it's discrimination. Okay, so take a look at the legal definition of the word discrimination. Take a look at legal examples and how that's applied and how that might be misapplied. And then when you learn about discrimination from a legal perspective, find out your rights as a citizen, not just as a citizen, but as a Christian citizen. What are your rights? So you have freedom of speech, you have freedom of religion, you have constitutional rights. Okay, so many times companies don't know this. Okay, many times we assume that big companies have lawyers, and these lawyers will always make sure they make legal policies that are legal and constitutional. But many times big companies don't. Okay, so ironically, many times big companies make policies that are actually discriminatory against Christians. All right, I know it sounds ironic, but I'll say it again. Many times big companies make policies that are discriminatory against Christians in their effort to be politically correct, in trying to support LGBTQ ideals and ideologies. They oftentimes discriminate against the Christians' right to freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom to practice their religion. And many times when they say, oh, we want a psychologically safe environment, it's actually not psychologically safe for the Christian. A lot of companies now force Christians to actually use certain kinds of speech that is more fascist than it is democratically constitutional. So, no, the first level is know the legal definitions, and then second, take a look at your company policies, your company manuals. It will be different per company. It will be different per country. Also, when it comes to your laws of the country, so laws of the company. So find out. So step one, find out the legal definitions of discrimination, legal definitions of bigotry, legal definitions of freedom of speech, freedom of religion, all of that stuff. And then second, compare what the country's laws are to the policies of your company. Third step would be for me to talk to my supervisor. If I work at a company, I would talk to my employer, to my direct supervisor, to my team leader, or whoever that might be. And I would kind of not really say educate, because that would sound very presumptuous and they might take offense, but I would talk to them and start asking questions, really relevant questions, and that would point towards the legality or illegality of certain policies of the company that might discriminate against your rights as a Christian, your rights to freedom of speech, your rights to a psychologically safe environment, your rights to what's it called, to practice your religion, freedom of religion, all of that stuff. So talk to your supervisors, talk to your team leaders or your employers, and then go from there. See where it goes from there. I would say also at a personal level, try to, I don't want to say, because see, this is going to be tricky and controversial. Try to evangelize and do discipleship with as many coworkers as you can, on a personal level, on a one-on-one level, not as a kind of preaching thing, like preaching to the crowd, but meet them one by one over coffee, maybe have lunch or have dinner with them, or just get to know them, talk to them, find out where they're coming from. The reason why a lot of these ideologies are gaining ground is because Christians no longer evangelize and make discipleship. They think they can enforce morality using the law. On some level, that's true when it comes to things like slavery. Like Christians outlawed slavery, and so that's a good thing. But when it comes to the culture war, it takes a personal level kind of evangelism, discipleship, and spiritual warfare. So that involves a lot of prayer, a lot of evangelism, a lot of discipleship, so that you'll have more Christians in the workplace. And with more Christians in the workplace, you can have more people become more informed about the legal side of things, and that might add more information and knowledge and education for your supervisors. Again, ironically, a lot of big companies out there make policies that are discriminatory against the Christian. All right, so I guess that's it for now. God bless you guys.